else, I didn't want to go over the time.
You should have included it in the video.
I mean, but it's an important topic, so you know.
Exactly.
You never know who might
But do you
watch
think
it.
we'll be able to post it before? I mean, we have to get it out before they find out.
Right.
It's March 2018. I don't know how much longer we have to. I'll have to be here, but something's happening to the system, and I don't know if we can push the documentary out in time. But I'm gonna try my best. So, just. Oh my gosh, I knew we shouldn't have posted it, but if you're able to see this, just watch it all the way through. We put some good stuff to.
Yo, this Carl from Detroit.
What's up, bro? We're talking about, were you raised on rape culture, man?
No, man. Hey, what's going on, Envy, C Guy, Yee? No, I wasn't raised like that, man. You know, when lines was drawn, man, we always knew right from wrong, you know. Granted, we might have had a little fun back in the day playing around.
No, my brother.
What do you mean by a little fun?
What
like,
was fun?
Explain what that is.
Fun. No, okay, listen. Not fun, like I say, man. You know, in school and everything, I might have grabbed the butter too.
Ryan and Dean, you're both sitting here shaking your head when I said it's a bad song. You're rolling your eyes at me. There's a second version of this video where the women are all naked.
Seen it.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure you have seen it.
I'm doing research before I come on.
Oh,
I didn't enjoy it.
I'm sure. Okay. So, you know, the things continue here. You know, I know you want it, but you're a good girl. I know you want it. I'm not going to read all the words. They get much more
graphic,
direct than that. Is this promoting rape?
Honestly, I don't think so at all. And playful, I think it's the song, it's upbeat and catchy, and it's fun. Sex sells, and if this was at all advocating rape or violence against women, I would be outspoken against it.
Beyond the glamour and glitz of Tinseltown, this morning more women in Hollywood are coming forward with claims about the kind of men Molly Ringwald calls all the other Harvey Weinsteins.
Happens everywhere, that it's not just Hollywood, that it's not just actresses, that it's women on Wall Street, it's women in a hospital, it's caretakers, it's women walking down the street.
I was affected by Larry. He did hurt me, and he hurt hundreds of other young women. He took away my innocence, and that is something I will never be able to get back. I will not take my own life. I'm going to take it back. Well, I will never get back those years of mental suffering.
Now to Bill Cosby under siege. Those allegations he sexually assaulted a number of women in the past are in the headlines again, raising questions about the reputation and career of this American icon.
I had one glass of wine, and the next thing I knew, I was coming to, slumped over the toilet. I was sick, I was confused, I was foggy. I had really no idea what was happening.
Campaign
was so wild the other night to see Me Too trending, and when I first saw it, my arm went numb. You know,
In the wake of the Harvey Weinstein scandal, millions of women sharing their own stories online, saying sexual harassment and assault isn't just a problem for Hollywood.
In one of the most high-profile sexual assault cases in recent American history,
the damage you inflicted is irreversible.
On January 18, 2015, Brock Turner, then a student at Stanford University, was arrested on 5 charges of rape after being found outside a campus party with an intoxicated, unconscious woman. The charges of rape were later dropped, but in March 2016, Turner was convicted of 3 charges of felony sexual assault, including assault with intent to rape. Turner was presented as a promising swimmer first and as a convicted criminal second.
There is
There's now nowhere left for you to hide, Larry.
More than 160 women say Larry Nassar sexually abused them. It's one of the worst sexual abuse scandals in the history of sports. And it went on for more than 2 decades. Nassar had celebrity-like status in the elite gymnastics and sports medicine world. Nassar typically carried out his abuse under the guise of a medical treatment. He hijacked a rare pelvic therapy that involves vaginal penetration and used it to treat all sorts of ailments. He ignored protocols such as using a glove, asking consent, or having a medical chaperone present.
And when I was 14 years old, I tore my hamstring in my right leg. This was when he started performing the procedure that we are all now familiar with. The next visit was for my shoulder, which I then found out my hips were out of alignment, which then made my spine and my pelvic bone out of alignment as well. And this is when Larry decided that it was medically acceptable to violate a 16-year-old girl.
Nassar said patients may have misunderstood his therapy. Medical colleagues deferred to his expertise. After a 2014 investigation cleared his name, Nassar was just reminded to follow procedures.
Look, I want to show you something. It's really cool. You can touch it, it's okay. Every incident is as if he got bolder and bolder until one day he was bold enough to take my virginity. Afterwards, it was as if nothing had happened. She kept asking me the same question over and over. Are you sure? Are you sure it wasn't a fantasy? Maybe you were dreaming. My mother was my only witness. She could have made up for all those years that I had lost. This is her time to stick up for me and to really fight for me, and she didn't.
And I remember we were just wrestling, and then all of a sudden, he pulled down my pants and penetrated. It's not like he wore a sign saying I'm a sexual predator. He was that cool uncle. I mean, it definitely was psychological, because I thought that was the way he loved me, without fully realizing, even at 14, 15, to step back and say that's wrong. I think there's a stigma attached to it that, oh, you're a man, you should be able to fend him off.
Do you think there are double standards when it comes to sexual assault? For example, do you think that rape has to meet certain classifications for opposite genders?
I do believe there's double standards because if a girl wears a short skirt, she's just asking for trouble, but you don't really ever hear many guys getting raped because they're never going to report that they got raped by a female.
How do you define victim blaming?
Victim blaming is when, just say I got on a skirt, like a dress, like some booty shorts, you know. I could be on the beach, you know, having a nice day, and some dude comes to me and say, oh, like, something inappropriately, and I get offended. Like, basically, it's not okay. I should be able to wear what I want without being harassed or assaulted.
Okay, and my second question is, can women be rapists?
Women could be rapists, but most of the time it's mostly men, but it can be females too. They vary.
Okay. Do you think that men should get away with the act of sexual assault if they use the excuse of boys will be boys, or you should just accept guys to act a certain way because of their hormones?
That's probably been one of the worst quotes or sayings that guys have used for years. And now they taught their sons, and now their sons are actually being blamed for something that their big brothers or their fathers actually taught them. And this is what we call the rape culture. They don't even realize that they're actually even doing it.
What is your definition of sexual harassment?
Harassment, from what I understand, normally occurs in the workplace by a person that continues to make inappropriate words or actual touching that's not warranted. It's a little bit different from flirting, but I think sometimes they can get looked upon as the same way. I think men may look upon them as just flirting because that's what they've always, quote unquote, done, And I think women have just had enough of all of it.
What is sexual assault?
Someone invades or sexually at somebody's, and the person is not willing, is when sexual assault is. So if the person is not willing sexually to engage, and whether it's male or female, it's assault.
How do you draw the line between someone being friendly and someone harassing you?
Well, I think you have to draw the line, nip it like everything else, kind of nip it in the bud. When you feel like you're being harassed, everybody knows when they feel uncomfortable. When you begin to start to feel uncomfortable, that's when you're supposed to say, no, or could you please, come at me in a different way. I think it's the moment of when you start to feel uncomfortable is when you nip that in the bud. It's when you nip harassment specifically in the bud.
What is rape culture?
I guess rape culture is probably those people who actively engage in rape on a regular basis. Not to say if there's a real thing such as culture of rape, but if it is, it's those who commit the crime that are involved in the culture. It's something that they know. It's not like they have a crew or a group and they all get together. It's generally an individual thing, but collectively, then you can't say it's cultural rape.
Victims of sexual assault, harassment, and rape were silenced for years and told that they were mistaken, that they had not been assaulted, harassed, or raped. Do you think this is a problem? If so, where should the world go next?
The world is already going in the right direction with the Me Too movement. Women are definitely speaking out, and they're having their time to be heard. And I hope it continues.
If it remains a hashtag and it remains a movement, then it's gonna die. It's gotta become a part of our lives, that women should no longer be in silence about sexual assault. It's a crime.
So at this point, talk is worthless to me. We're dealing with real lives in the future of our sport. We need to believe this won't happen again. For this sport to go on, we need to demand real change, and we need to be willing to fight for it. It's clear now that if we leave it up to these organizations, history is likely to repeat itself. To know what changes are needed requires us to understand what exactly happened and why it has happened. This is a painful process, but it's the only way to identify all the factors that contributed to this problem and how they can be avoided in the future.
All have lived too many years in a culture broken by brutally powerful men. For too long, women have not been heard or believed if they dared to speak their truth to the power of those men. But their time is up.
Okay, so if you're viewing this, you made it to the end of the documentary.
We hope you enjoyed it. You've been introduced to America's best kept secret, rape culture.